Hello, I'm Malachy Doyle, and I'm delighted to be here to launch this special place for activities and stories. And the very first story is going to be one that I've written called Molly and the Whale. First, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Carrickfergus and I grew up in Whitehead in County Antrim, and I had a lovely childhood there by the sea. And went to college in England, and then I lived in Wales for a long time, and now I live back in Ireland in Donegal, and that's where I write my stories. And like I said, the one I'm gonna read today for you is called Molly and the Whale. Here it is. Look, Molly and the Whale, and the pictures are by Andrew Whitson, who comes from Belfast, and he's great. Oh, and this book this is in English. This is in Irish, Muireann agus O'Meal Moore, and this is it in Welsh, Mally or Moorville. But I think maybe I'll read the English one to you today. Molly and the Whale. Are you ready? It's the second book about Molly. There was one called Molly and the Storm BC, and this is the second one, and there's going to be lots more. Molly and Dylan went down to the shore the morning after the storm. They were looking for crabs or cowrie shells or anything little and interesting that might have been washed up in the night. But there on the beach was a whale. Look, a great big whale. There's Molly and Dylan. Can you see them there? There they are. They live on this little island. Exciting adventures. Daddy, Daddy, yelled Molly. There's a great enormous whale on the beach. She must have come in on the storm, and the sea's gone out and left her behind. Fetch the buckets and spades, said her father. I'm not sure how making sandcastles will help, muttered Molly, but she did, as he asked. So there they go, in a wheelbarrow, back to the whale, with the buckets and spades. Right, children, said Molly's dad. Fill the buckets with water and pour it over her. As it's low tide, we need to cool her down till the sea comes back in again. So Molly, Dylan and their friends made sure the whale's skin didn't dry out. And meanwhile, Molly's father and the others dug a trench all around so the water would keep her cool while the tide rose. There's the whale, see? That's Molly and her friends filling up the buckets with water so they can pour it over the whale. She doesn't get too hot. Oh, you poor thing, said Molly to the whale. Can't we push her back into the sea, Dad? Her father shook his head. She's too heavy, love. And anyway, we might hurt her. Hopefully at high tide, when the water comes back up the beach, she'll be able to swim away. There's the whale. There's Molly and Dylan. All afternoon they dug and they poured, and all the while Molly sang a little song to the whale to try and calm her. We're keeping you wet through the heat of the day. We're doing our best till you're safe and away. As long as it takes till we'll be here by your side. As long as it takes till you're back on the tide. The whale seemed to like Molly's song. She seemed to like that people were trying to help her. But Molly sensed that as the day warmed up, the massive creature got more and more uncomfortable, more and more unhappy. We're keeping you wet through the heat of the day, Molly sang. We're doing our best till you're safe and away. High tide's coming, cried Dylan at last. The children ran to the shoreline and dug a channel to try and speed the water up. At long last, the first wave reached the stranded whale. The trench the grown-ups had dug began to fill up, so that soon her tummy was resting in the cool, clear water, and the whale did a big blubbery shake as if to say thank you. tide kept coming. "Will there be enough water for her to swim away, Dad?" asked Molly. "She's so big and heavy." "I hope so," said her father. "I really hope so." By high tide, everyone was up in the dunes watching and waiting, but the water still wasn't deep enough. "She'll never get back to the sea," cried Molly, fighting back her tears. "The poor whale needs to be quiet now," Molly's dad told everyone. "You all go home and I'll wait with her. It's full moon tonight, so the next tide will be even higher. Hopefully then she'll be able to swim." So everyone else went off to bed, everyone but Molly and Dylan, who wouldn't leave. Night fell, and by the light of the moon and the stars they watched and they waited, and quietly they sang, "As long as it takes, we'll be here by your side. As long as it takes till you swim on the tide," sang Molly. Molly woke. The first light of morning was breaking through the clouds. The tide was higher than before, and "Look!" she cried, waking the others. "Look, look, look. She's splashing her tail to see if the water's deep enough to swim." The whale shook a little, then shook again. She did a big blubbery shake, and "She's moving!" yelled Dylan. "She's swimming!" cried Molly. "She's heading out to sea!" And they watched in silence as the enormous creature swam off into ever deeper, ever safer water. "Look!" cried Molly. "She's happy again now." See? They're in the boat on the water. And there's the whale. She's blowing a big water spout. Look. "She certainly is," said her dad. "And I think he's trying to say thank you." Because in this beautiful page, she's jumping right out of the water over the boat. And there's some other whales out there, look, because they're blowing water spouts too. They're all really happy that this one has been saved. Dylan, Molly and her dad cheered, hugged, and then trundled off home, singing Molly's song. "We were keeping you wet by the heat of the day, doing our best till you're safe and away. As long as it took, we were there by your side. As long as it took till you swam on the tide." Goodbye, whale. Goodbye.